ruba wa qabaila lita'arafu inna akramakum indallahi atqakum. Sadaqallahu al-azim. Almighty Allah said, O ye men, we have created you from a male and a female. All of you, be you in billions, you are all from a male and female. And we have separated you into tribes and sub-tribes. Lita'arafu. That is the meaning. That is the purpose. That you may recognize, that you may know one another. Not for any destructive purpose, not for any opposition, and not for any uprising. If that is the purpose why Almighty Allah has made us into tribes and sub-tribes, then the question is, why do we human beings see it differently? If we had allowed it to remain like this, that is, to recognize ourselves without fighting and struggling for dominance, perhaps the world will have been a better place for you and I to live than the hotbed it is now. Nigeria probably has about 250 cultures and sub-tribes. If there's anything like sub-tribes, there are certain languages as there are other tribes and cultures, because language is the vehicle to express and drive the culture. And we don't have one religion in Nigeria, but as many as you can think. The few ones I can remember, you have Islam, you have Christianity, you have traditionalists in various forms. Traditionalist religion is not just one. You have them in various categories. The Oya, Songo, Batala, Arotuku, Idoma people, TV people, Ilefe people, Ekiti people, Akoko, Ikale, Egba people, Owu, Jebu, Edo, Sesakos, Ishons, Yewas, Aworis, Koma people, the Fulanis, the Hausas, the Birom, the Agatu, the Ibiras, the Gwaris, Ijos and the Shekiris, etc. All these people have their different cultures and their different religions, apart from the two imported religions. One would also want to know, if Allah wanted us to belong to one religion, Quran chapter 10, verse 100 says, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, Walau sha'a rabbuka la'amana man fil ard kulluhum jami'a afa anta tukri'un nasa hatta yakunu mu'minin. That is to say, if your Lord had enforced his will, surely all who are on the earth would have believed together. Will you then force men to become believers? If Allah had enforced his will on all who are living on earth, all of us would have believed. We would have been believers. We would have been mu'min. But he didn't do so. He now asked a question, will you force men to become believers? Which, of course, if God had not intended that to happen, who is that man or group of men who would want everybody on earth to belong to one religion? Multi-religious society is a perfect wish by Allah. Otherwise, this verse will not have contained what it contained. Allah allows multi-religions because he commanded Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam to say, Lakum dinikum waliya din. For you, your religion, for me, my religion. That is to say, even you, Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, you have to recognize the religions of others, and that is why you must give them that consideration. For you, yours is clear, own it. For theirs, they have claimed what they want to claim, recognize it for them. Don't compel them. I go on to talk about, would Allah have allowed multiracial, multicultural, and multi-religious society for the purpose of causing restiveness? Definitely no. Due to the imperfection of human beings and our wish to dominate others, he manipulates, that is, man manipulates culture and religion to create dissension, schism, confusion, and injustice that always result in restiveness. For those of you who have an idea of what Jos looks like or used to be, Jos happens to be almost the most peaceful area in this country at the time, where you don't have to fear anybody to live there, no matter who you are, where you come from. But today, you and I are witnesses of what is going on in Jos. And why? Because some group feel we just got to dominate these others. We must call the shots here. We must control here. The resources here actually is ours and must be under our control. And what is all these things we are talking about? Man's greediness, man's avarice. And this is where, and that is why restiveness will always occur where you have man displaying what is in him without him actually putting his ambition under control. I say, restiveness may not be solely caused majorly by multi-racial or cultural dimensions, or even as a result of multi-religious demarcations. I'm not too sure if the Boko Harams have not killed more Muslims than Christians. I don't know who or what cause they are fighting for. Anyway, Syrians are not fighting Christians in power, but Muslims in power. Egyptian uprising was not against any religious group, but Muslims like themselves. Arab Springs generally is all about Muslims against fellow Muslims. A lot of religious practices over time become the culture of the people. I've not seen the Yorubas trying to exert dominance or influence the Hausas or Igbos to practice the Yoruba culture or vice versa. A Yoruba man wearing Hausa cultural dress is a sign of the rich cultural dimension of this country, and none will frown at that. Issues always arise where a religious group tries to forcefully convert the adherents of other religions, or where you have tyranny, injustice, unhealthy rivalry, oppression surfacing on account of religious or cultural differences. We have seen this also in this country. I've just mentioned the Boko Haram. There was a time when it was the Metasine, and you have a lot of skirmishes in the north when maybe some Christians would just maybe burn the Quran, and then you have some people flaring up, or some people kind of going on aggression against other cultural people. Major cause of restiveness is due to misrule or maladministration, high-handedness on the part of the government, misappropriation of people's commonwealth by a few privileged individuals, insensitivity on the part of the government, partiality, major wrongdoings, wrong application of resources, creation of a wide or wider margin between the rich and the poor. We must not forget that the government will be dominated either by a people from a particular religion or by a people from some cultural background. A government will be dominated by either a group of people from one particular religion. And when you now look at that religion, you say, when you now look at that government, you say, this is a Muslim government. Also, some government, you see some cultural people, since it's multicultural anyway, dominating such a government. Others who are outside will look at that government and say, don't mind them. They are promoting their cultural agenda simply because they dominate that government. I say, let us look at a few countries where restiveness has taken place recently and what their situation is now. Libya, Iraq of Saddam Hussein, Sudan, and their division into south and the north. Egypt, you can add Tunisia. Look at what was the situation in this country. Look at what they were enjoying. Look at the peace prevalent in there before this, I don't want to use the word so-called, before the Arab Springs. After the Arab Springs, what do we have now? How many youths have lost their souls? Simply because there must always be a wing. I'll get there. There will always be a wing that people use to carry out whatever nefarious activities they want to carry out. There will be a think tank, majorly the elders, who will, I don't want to say whether guide or misguide the youth in that cultural enclave to tell them, this is what is happening. Let us go and do this. They will not participate in it. But they will guide or they will direct the youth to go and do it. Because the youth, we have that raw energy, that zeal, that attitude of let's move and we are moving to go and achieve what they say we should achieve. What happened in all these countries and the wanton destruction of lives and properties that followed? Was the strategy the best choice? That is the question. Youth restiveness, as it occurred in these countries we have mentioned, was it the best strategy? The confrontation, the will to change the status quo by force, the attempt to change the government, that you are not doing what we want you to do. You must leave and give chance or room to another people to come and rule. Yes, in all these countries, they've changed those who were there before. They've installed those they wanted to be there. Now they are there. Are they really achieving what they thought they would achieve if they change the man who was there before? And look at the number of lives and souls of youth that have been lost. Thousands of lives were lost. Would that have happened if the youth had resorted to peaceful dialogue or roundtable conference? Why were Nigerians rushing to go to these countries if the situation were that bad? And why have we not seen the citizens of these countries go to other parts of the world seeking greener pasture, as they used to say? Was there so much of lives and property when the rulers they killed were in power compared to after the so-called revolution? The involvement of the youth. In every struggle, you will have the strategists whose duty it is to plan what is to be done after identifying a justifiable reason for resistance. The elders are always useful in this regard. You always have the elders forum who will see what the youth may have seen or may have not seen. They would mastermind how to stop or check the perceived excesses of the other party and use the youth as the executors of what has been planned. The youth, also desiring a change, will become willing tools in the hands of the elders. Every consultative forum always have its youth wing. You have the ACF. Do I need to translate that? ACF. You know what it means? OPC. You know what it means? The youth have the raw energy and the zeal to go on rampage. Sometimes they may not even understand what they are fighting for. They have just been told, go. And they go. More so, if they have what you call a charismatic leader. He just tells them, move, and they move. Not understanding the philosophy, why should we move? Move to go and do what? And what we are going to do, will it achieve the purpose of this struggle? A lot of youth don't really want to know. So the youth can really be manipulated due to so many factors. The youth can really be manipulated due to so many factors. Unemployment is one of the main reasons. They see no reason, that is the youth, see no reason why the system that has subdued them should continue since it has not profited them. Why should it continue? I have so many degrees. I've gone to primary, secondary, tertiary, I've gotten my master's, I'm even pursuing my PhD, yet I don't have any hope of getting a job. And some people who barely pass secondary school are up there talking billions, siphoning billions, draining billions, not into national development, but into one private pocket. And here I am with all my certificates. So what I need just a little push. And that's one of the reasons why youth are easily manipulated to do the biddings of those who are sending them. They clamor for a bloody change. Remember that an idle mind is the devil's workshop, according to our elders. Illiteracy is another reason. A group of uncuffed and illiterate youth can easily be convinced to embark on a suicide mission. He doesn't know. He's illiterate. He does not even know the value of his life. He doesn't know that today I may not have a job. Today I may be a downtrodden person. Today the situation may be hopeless. But do I know what will happen tomorrow? Do I know what will happen tomorrow? But because he's an illiterate, he cannot see beyond his nose. He cannot even project. So a little push, you see him, 100 meters, senior men, which shouldn't be the case. Many killings have been carried out in this country using politics of religion as a basis. Causes of youth restiveness in a multi-religious society. Except for sectarian clashes, one does not expect any restiveness in any multi-religious society because each has its own line. And Islam especially has taught Muslims how best to conduct themselves in such a society. Quran chapter 16, starting to now, verse 126 says, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, Udi'u ila sabil rabbika bil hikmah wal mau'izatul hasana wajadilhum billati hiya ahsan inna rabbaka huwa alam biman dalla an sabilihi wa huwa alam bil muhtadin. Sadaqallahu al-azim. Meaning, O ye Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and by extension, O ye Muslims, call unto the way of thy Lord with wisdom. Even if we are in a multi-religious society, even if, yes, Islam has allowed us to proselytize our religion, of course, yes, we have to go on tabligh. But must it be tabligh with or by force? Quran that has been revealed by Almighty Allah is speaking here. Invite, call them unto the Lord, the way of your Lord, with wisdom. Does wisdom mean force? Does it mean restiveness? Does it mean coercion or crookedness or deception? No. Wisdom is always wisdom. Invite unto the way of your Lord with wisdom and goodly exhortation. Goodly exhortation. Wasi, advice, sermon, good ones, beautiful ones, reasonable ones. Not coercion, not force. And argue with them in a way that is best. In case there is dialogue between you and them, adopt the best strategy. Act in a way that is best. And when God says best, you know what it means. You don't have to be insultive. You don't have to castigate. You don't have to condemn. You don't have to abuse. Argue with them in a way that is best. That is Almighty Allah speaking here. Surely thy Lord knows best who has strayed from his way, and he knows those who are rightly guided. He knows those who are rightly guided and not you. Verse 27 says, and if you desire to punish the oppressors, then punish them to the extent to which you have been wronged. But if you show patience, surely that is best for those who are patient. Let's get it right. Let's get it right. Even if you have been oppressed, yes, we have Muslims, we have Christians, and we are all together here, and for one reason or the other, maybe non-Muslims are the one up there, and they have oppressed us. Maybe denying us our rights. What they should give us, they are not giving us. The mineral resources is being misappropriated. The wealth of the nation is being given to themselves, not us. So we are oppressed. Allah is saying, And if you desire to punish these oppressors, then punish them to the extent to which you have been wronged. The question now is this: how do you determine the extent? Because Allah is such a just God that if should you go a foot beyond that extent, you have transgressed. You have gone beyond your limits. And Allah is now saying, even it is better for you to be patient. Meaning what? Okay, they have oppressed you. They are still oppressing you. Be patient. And what does patience? What does it mean? Be patient. Allow them to go on. You continue to pray to your God. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu ista'inu bis-sabri was-salah. That's what Quran says. Oh, ye who believe, seek the help of Almighty Allah with what? Patience and prayer. Seek the help of Allah over those who have been oppressing you, those who are making life difficult for you. If maybe they are even killing your sons or your children, they're not giving you your due rights. Seek the help of Allah first with patience. Be patient. Don't come up with sudden uprising. Don't come up with a vengeance mind. We are going to destroy them. It is our right. We must see the status quo by force. Allah says with patience, then with prayer. That is how you seek the help of Almighty Allah on an issue that is beyond you. This is Almighty Allah speaking, not anyone. Trying to tell us and calling our minds to the fact that it's better for you to jaw than to war. Hello? Hello? Hazrat Masih Maud, 1836 to 1908, says, Hazrat Masih Maud, by definition, is the founder of Ahmadiyya, Muslim Jamaat, alayhi salatu wasalam. He says, every advocate should state the beauties of his own religion instead of attacking the other party. Because proving that the other religion is wrong does not mean that his own religion is right. If you succeed, you are a very good argumentator. You have all the facts in the world, facts and figure. You are not able to prove that your religion is wrong. As Masima will be saying, that does not mean your own is right. Are we getting it right? And it goes to say that scrupulous, conscientious regard must be paid to the fact that all standards of religious controversies and discussions are conducted in decent and polite manner. Can Muslim force others to accept Islam? That's a subtopic I have. Even though Muslims have been granted the permission to spread Islam, are we allowed to use coercion to achieve this in a multi-religious society? Holy Quran chapter 2, verse 251 says, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, La ikra fi din, meaning there should be no compulsion in matters of religion. And according to Hazrat Mr. Tohir Ahmad, Rahimahullah, anhu, in his book titled Absolute Justice, Kindness and Kinship, says, while commenting on this above verse, in matters of faith, there is no compulsion. Every person has complete freedom. No religion is given permission to convert anyone forcefully, and no person renouncing a religion can be prevented by force. In addition, the words La ikra fi din alludes to an unalterable principle of human nature. That is, even if force is used, it is ineffective in matters of religion because it cannot cause a change of heart. To try and do this by compulsion is a futile exercise which achieves nothing but oppression. Also, in Quran chapter 88, verse 20 to 27, فَذَكِّرْ إِنَّمَا أَنْتَ مُذَكِّرْ لَاسْتَ عَلَيْهِمْ بِمُسَيْطِرٍ إِلَّا مَنْ تَوَلَّى وَكَفَرَ فَيُعَذِّبُهُ اللَّهُ الْعَذَابَ الْأَكْبَرَ إِنَّ إِلَيْنَا إِيَابَهُمْ ثُمَّ إِنَّ عَلَيْنَا حِسَابَهُمْ. And we say, sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Muhammadur Rasulullah. Muhammadur Rasulullah. Muhammadur Rasulullah. The verse I quoted goes in meaning. Almighty Allah was addressing Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, and he says, "Fadhakir, admonish, because you are an admonisher. You have no authority to compel them." That's Almighty Allah instructing Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who has been sent to the whole world. You have no authority to compel them. But whoever turns away and disbelieves, Allah will punish him with the greatest punishment. Unto us, unto Allah, surely is their return. Then surely it is for us, for Allah, to call them to account, and not for you or any group of people to call people to account to them on account of religious beliefs. No. Nobody owns religion except Almighty Allah. And he's saying here, they will return to us and we will call them to account. So, that group of people who have probably assumed the right of authority to say that, okay, you are to go to hell, or you are to go to here, where they derive their authority from, let them come and tell the world. It is not for any human being to call them to account, as it is being done now in many countries. As Atayir Ahmad said on the verse thus, no true religion can be held accountable for the crimes committed in its name against human conscience. Those responsible are the so-called religious priesthoods who unjustly distort the divine teachings, only to suit their own purpose at the expense of the purpose of God. They even acquire for themselves the license to kill. Also in Quran chapter 60, verse 69, it reads, لا ينهاكم الله عن الذين لم يقاتلوكم في دين ولم يخرجوكم من دياركم أن تبروهم وتقسطوا إليهم إن الله يحب المقسطين. صدق الله العظيم. Allah forbids you not respecting those who have not fought against you on account of your religion. Those who have not fought you, those who have not been restive against you, those who didn't raise arm against you, Allah forbids you. And those who have not driven you forth from your house, they've not driven you out, they've not expelled you from your house, Allah forbids you. You have no right to do same against them. They've not forced you, don't force them. They've not killed you, you don't kill them. They've not raised up arms against you, you have no right to raise up against them. That you be kind to them. You have to be kind to these people. That they have not done that to you does not mean you should be expecting they are going to do it. No. Be kind to them and act equitably towards them. Surely Allah loves those who are equitable. And that is an advice for all of us. The question now is, under what circumstances are Muslims because of time? Let's talk about prophetic solution to youth restiveness in an MCMRS. Where there is injustice, lawlessness, oppression, the Holy Quran has a remedy, as the servants of Allah has every right to hope for justice from Allah. Quran chapter 27 verse 3 says, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Amman yujibu mutarra idha da'ahu wa yakshifu shu'a wa yaj'alukum khulafa al-ard a ilahu ma'alahi qalilum ma tadhakkarun. Meaning, or who answers the distressed person when he calls upon him? Who answers the distressed person when he calls upon him? If we are youth and we feel we have been subjugated, we have been oppressed, we are doing whatever, and we feel, no, we must challenge, we must rise up, we must kill, we must avenge, we must change the status quo. But Allah is saying, who answers the distressed person when he calls upon him? The inference here is, if you are distressed, if some groups of people are making you to be distressed, call on Almighty Allah. Because He is the only one that will hear you and change what you want or answer your prayers the way you have said it. Only Allah can do this. You don't assume the position of Allah by saying, okay, this distress, we must change it. You are assuming the wrath of Allah. And removes the evil. That's the content of that verse. Who removes the evil and makes you successors in the earth? Who does that? Who removes that evil that you feel should be removed? It is Allah. Okay, they are not doing it right. Who can remove them? We were all in this country when there was a rule, or when there was a government in power, and everybody was shouting. Everybody was shouting, and as many people as were shouting, so were many people being killed. You know what I'm talking about. A lot of people lost their lives. But what happened? Suddenly, people were praying, and Almighty God, having heard and listened to people who were supplicating to Him, what did He do? Without you and I doing anything, taking up arms, not killing anybody, He just removed that piece of a person who was causing distress to everybody in this country. And all of us, we went to the road, we started shouting, praying and thanking Almighty God. If only we can have perfect and absolute trust in Almighty Allah, youth restiveness will be a thing of the past. It's even not there and will not even come to be. As Ratoir Ahmad commented on the above verse does, distress means those who are fraught with misery and grief. Sometimes their unhappiness is so great that it seems as if their hearts will break. On such occasions, Allah does not stop at justice, but cares for His servants with benevolence, even if they have not earned it through good deeds. If the deceased person may not have been a believer in God at all, yet it has to be admitted that after all, he is God's creature. The person being suppressed is the creature of Almighty Allah. He might not be a Muslim. He doesn't have to be. You don't have to be a Muslim. The fact that you are being suppressed and you are a creature of God entitles you to call on God. God, this is becoming too much for me to bear. Please change it for me. The fact that you are Allah's creature, that He has created you and did not create you to face hardship and difficulty, He will listen to you and accept your prayer and do what you want to do without you endangering your life, carrying arms and ammunition and guns, that I must see him, he must die, he must live there today, as we always say when we start the restiveness. Nabi Muhammad says, Ittaku da'wat al-mazlum wa inna kafiran fa inna'u laisa dunaha hijaban. Meaning, beware, fear the malediction of the wronged one. Fear the utterances of somebody who has been wronged. Be careful of that man who has been suppressed, whose rights have been denied him. Beware of him, because even though he may be an infidel, if that wronged person is an infidel, there is no distance between his prayer and God. There is no distance between his prayer and God, because he's been suppressed. It's just to God, look at what is happening to me. And before you say, is it Jack Robinson? God will come to his rescue. I'm more of the time. This has to be looked at from two perspectives. Prophetic solutions. I started 12:33. I'm sorry. Prophetic solutions. This has to be looked at from two perspectives. One was when the prophet was indeed weak. You see, when we say prophetic solution, we have to look at the time when he was Mr. Nobody. God had sent him, he had come, he was delivering the message, and all the powerful people in Arabia was like, we must kill this man. We must not allow him to spread his religion. How did he react? What did he do? Did he say, no, God has sent me. It is God that has sent me. You cannot do anything to me, I must fight you. Did he do that? That is one perspective. The second perspective is, when Allah has granted him victory, he was now the commander, the ruler. His words were law. How did he treat those who were not Muslims? These are the two perspectives we want to look at under prophetic solutions. He migrated. Apart from the fact that the Holy Quran says the land of Allah is vast and we could travel from one point to the other, especially when we are faced with oppression, the prophet did this. When Makkah was unbearable, that was, call it his fatherland, call it his motherland, yes. But they made life difficult for him. And what did he do? He left them and went to Medina, where he was accepted. He did not say, my people, let's go. They cannot drive us out from this town. So where we youths, where we feel we need to change the situation, Allah has said, my ard is vast. Traverse on my land. You can leave that place where you have been oppressed and go to another place. That is what one of the things Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam did to forestall and cut the wings of those who are oppressing him after leaving them, who else do you want to fight with? Prayer. He was constantly praying to God for intervention. And of course, Almighty Allah assured him, Adi'uni astajib lakum, call on me, I will hear you. And it was because of his prayers that he was persistent in offering, and his followers, that Almighty Allah changed their weak situation, their situation of being oppressed. He now made them to be conqueror, and they now became the victory, and the land of Arabia was won for Islam. Humility is one of his solutions. You don't have to say because things were not going the way you want it. You don't have to be arrogant. You have to be destructive. You have to be, how do I put it? Go on restiveness. Destroying things. Disobeying the law of the land. No, humility. He was always humble and not arrogant or forceful in asserting rights, despite the fact that he was a prophet of Almighty Allah. He reached agreement, or he made agreement and reached covenant with those who were not Muslims, which he strictly followed to the letter. After becoming a leader, he showed good examples that led to peaceful coexistence of all that were under his rule, who were non-Muslims, who were non-Arabs. You have the Jews who were there, you have the Christians who were there. He was a leader who administered to the delight and to the happiness of all the citizens, and nobody had any cause to complain against Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. When he conquered Makkah, he established Zimis. Zimis as a solution to combat the multicultural and multi-religious composition of society under the rule of Muslims then. The Old Islam gave the same rights to the Zimis, non-Muslims. Zimis are non-Muslims. He gave them the same rights as he gave to the Muslims. As we give to the competent tribes who accepted Islam, it is on the basis of this equality of rights that Muslim jurists have defined the right of non-Muslims, citizens in a Muslim state, as being equal, especially if they just pay the tax. Once you pay the jizya, you enjoy the same right as Muslims enjoy. Zimmi signified the sacred responsibility of Muslims to protect all the rights of non-Muslims, and that they will have the fullest opportunities to live in peace without the least threat or danger to their security. No distinction was made between a Muslim and a non-Muslim in social and civil affairs. Soon after the conquest of Makkah, a deputation of Banu Suqayf from Taif visited the Holy Islam. They were quartered in the mosque. These people were Christians. They came to visit Nabi Muhammad. And what did he do? He didn't say they were Christians. He quartered them inside the mosque. That is one of the prophetic solutions. All this nepotism, all this rivalry, all this hatred and love, no loss situation, Nabi Islam did not practice it. He quartered the Christians in his mosque where the tents were pitched. Some Muslims approached the prophet and objected to their staying in the mosque on the ground that the guests were idolaters and impure. And Nabi Muhammad sallallahu replied that the Quran said, "Innamal mushrikina najasun," that is, the idolaters are impure, refers to a condition of heart and not that of their body. Bodily speaking, all human beings are pure and have the right to free access to the holiest of all places. At a time, some Muslims were fed up with the evil machinations of the Jews of Khaybar. They therefore misappropriated their fruits and animals. Youth restiveness by Muslims. Muslims went on rampage. The Jews of Khaybar. So their fruits, their animals, they killed them. And the Prophet Islam was furious when he heard about this and said, Allah does not allow you to enter the houses of Ahlul Kitab, people of the book, Christians, the Jews, and others. You are not allowed to enter their houses without their permission. Similarly, it is illegal to pluck their fruits from their orchards. Nabi Muhammad. Hazrat Safiya radiallahu anha was the mother of the faithful, one of the wives of Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And as well as the Prophet, she retained her relationships and contacts with her Jewish relatives. She was a Jew. Nabi Muhammad allowed her to retain that relationship with her Jewish relatives even after becoming a Muslim. While Nabi Muhammad was even alive, he used to receive her non-Muslim relatives and honor them as visitors in his house. Nabi Muhammad. When he was about dying, when it's dawned on that he was about dying, he said, thank you, sir. Just this last paragraph, sir. He said, "O you men, your maker is one. You are the sons and daughters of one father. Therefore, no attempt at dividing you into high and low is acceptable. No Arab has any superiority over the non-Arabs and vice versa. Neither the whites are superior to the blacks or vice versa. The only mark of difference is the fear of Allah and an individual's personal virtue and piety. Under an Islamic state, race and color have no distinction. As you respect this day, this month, and this land of pilgrimage, so shall you respect the life, property, and honor of every human being, which under the law are as sacred and inviolable as this day." Nabi Muhammad. Dawahum fiha subhanakallahumma wa tahiyyatun fiha salam wa da'wahum alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Jazakallah khaira is part of Islamic principle that respects agreements. We have been told that we shall leave here at 3. We cannot go on to the time scheduled in the paper. That is why I have to tax a few minutes from each speaker. The chairman can guide as required. You know, if you use all the oceans in this world, use all the oceans as ink and trees as pen, you can never exhaust the words of Allah. If you allow Brother Romini, you can come for another hour. On this topic, somebody else can deliver another 2-hour lecture without repeating Romini. I can assure you about that on this topic. So we cannot exhaust. Let us keep to the time so that you can recognize the agreement we reached for some group that want to take over this place at 3 p.m. We must stop at that time. And we have other programs, other speakers as well. Now, we have provision for an interlude for Taekwondo people to give us a short demonstration. I've been asking Sarah Saib, how will Taekwondo people give us the demonstration? Yes, you can go ahead. You can go ahead, please.
because I must be somewhere.
Yes, in fact, we are very grateful for your support. God will bless you. We need your intervention in the use of this call. And we can really assist them. Thank you very much indeed. We'd like to have more communication with you. Thank you. Please make it brief.
I want to invite to the high table the circuit president of Oyo. He was also former Enoib Koid Oyo State. His brother Tajuddin Abdulsalam. You are welcome to the high table.
Representing His Excellency, as it were. That is SSG of Oyo State Government. We want to invite our honorable guest, the Secretary of State Government, Brother Wahid Olajide, to give us a guest address, because he will be leaving very soon.
I'm leaving after my address.
Okay.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Chairman, sir, eminent things, when there is no distinction, so the question of high table, low table, I won't do that, sir. So, but I recognize all our leaders who are here. I greet you all in the name of Allah, merciful. My comment briefly is an appeal. Every time we hear Muslims that their children are not being given the opportunity to learn their religion in schools, though I have the authority to say anyway that the government will soon in April recruit Islamic study teacher, but that's one of it. There's another aspect. I've looked at the record. I've never seen any time when government recruits people and call them Christian religious teachers. It is Christians themselves who teach Christian studies in school. I concede one fact. There's a distinction between Islam and Christianity. Islam has a body of knowledge for which someone should be acquainted with before he can practice his religion. For instance, if you get to the church now, you can mix freely with the religion if you have common sense. Once you can dance, you can clap, you will follow the religion easily. But Islam relies on a regiment of knowledge. You cannot practice Islam with common sense. You have to practice it with a body of knowledge. So that puts Muslims in a disadvantage. But I do observe that in our schools, there are people who are qualified to be called knowledgeable, even though they might have read a different discipline. You find someone who read mathematics, who read English, who in his own right can be an imam. Why, for God's sake, can these people assist children who have no teacher to teach them? And there are very many. All they want to do, I can't teach more than my subject, forgetting that if they do that, number one, the generation of those children will not be wasted, because what they should learn at a particular age If they don't learn it, they are already disadvantaged in life. So I want to appeal to Muslims to look at how they can help Islam instead of complaining all the time about government is not doing this, government is not doing that. That's number one. Number two is the fact that if parents do not know, they should know that all over Nigeria there are cultism in secondary schools. There are boys who will behave the way the Ogoni will behave in those days. And you will wonder, how did they get to this point? And so, if we allow our children unguided, because government has not recruited any teacher, we are making their mind fertile for those who will plant evil. So I'm appealing to Muslims both in primary school and secondary school to assist the generation of it. I know a particular school in Ibadan where an Greek studies teacher has been teaching Islamic studies for more than 5 years, and the students have been offering a Greek and they pass. And I know at least two schools. One of the schools is in Ukiado, and is a woman who did that. So if all Muslims decide to behave more proactively instead of folding their hands, God will question all those who fold their hands when they have an expertise they can use for Islam. That's all the message I have. Thank you very much. And with your permission, I have to be somewhere else. But this gathering is very, very important to me. That's why I'm here. So you will please pardon me. I have to leave.
Just one minute. We have a present for you, sir.
All right.
Just a minute before our honorable guest leaves, we have some token presents for him. I want you to join me in appreciating his assistance to us. There was some little dispute that he had to wait in for our purpose. And we thank him for his intervention. May Allah, the most appreciative, reward you with the best. We humbly note all your comments and shall work on them. We are very grateful indeed. This is a token of our love and appreciation. We have provision for other guests to address us because we will learn a lot from our invited guests.
The CP is representative.
The chief?
Okay, the CP.
Thank you.
Any other one? What is CP, the representative of the Commissioner of Police?
Okay, the representative of the Commissioner. Okay, the representative of the Honorable Commissioner of Police. We appreciate your presence. Thank you.
أعوذ بالله السميع العليم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. The chairman of the occasion permit me to stand on the existing protocol. First of all, I'm representing the Commissioner of Police, who is unavoidably absent. Alhaji Muhammad Indaba, that is his name. He sends his apologies. Actually, he would have been here with us today, but due to circumstances beyond him, he couldn't make it. He said he identifies with the objectives and motto of this organization. That is love for all and hatred for none. I would have said many things, but the guest speaker had almost said all the verses and the hadith I would have quoted. So if I should go back, it's as if we are repeating ourselves. But the truth of the matter is that the topic of today is very germane. It's very relevant to the security challenges Nigeria is facing. And because of that, the Commissioner of Police, when he saw the topic, he said even though he could not be here, he would like to be represented. As we know, Nigeria is a multicultural, multi-religious country. And Mr. Chairman, let me wait for, okay. Don't you have this? Let me just, that microphone. Well, I said, thank you very much. Thank you. Okay. Thank you very much. Oh, okay. You want to? Okay, I can go ahead. All right. Like I was saying, there is nothing like peace. In a multi-ethnic and multi-religious society like ours, peace is very important. Because you know what? If there is no peace, we cannot gather ourselves here and organize this symposium. That is very authentic. So, because of that, the Oyo State Command is ready and is always have its doors open for all religious and cultural organizations. The command is ready to cooperate with all the organizations to ensure that the peace we are enjoying in Oyo State today is maintained. And somewhere along the line, I read where the national chairman said the youths are losing hope in the leadership. I want to urge the youth that they should not lose hope in the leadership. They should have hope. They are not the leaders of tomorrow. They are the leaders of today. Anybody who said the youth are the leaders of tomorrow, that is a past slogan. They are the leaders of today, and they should see themselves on that, and they should be willing to contribute, no matter in their own way, to achieve the development we require. Having said that, we know Nigeria, like at least 90% of Nigerians are either Muslims or Christians. And all the religions have emphasized peace. Like in Islam, it is said that there is no compulsion in Islam, a religion. And the Holy Prophet ﷺ had urged us to use knowledge and wisdom in trying to convince others of the different faiths if we are to make any meaningful progress. The situation we are seeing, especially in some parts of the country, is uncalled for. And I want you to continue to pray for this country, that this peace we are talking about is not only on the paper, is going to be a genuine peace. Like the Christians among us, I know that it is in the Bible, chapter 14, verse 27, that is John, where Jesus said that, peace I leave with you, my peace I give to you. not as the world gives you, that I give you. Let your heart not be troubled or be afraid. So, Mr. Chairman, I don't want to take time. On that note, I would like to sincerely thank you for this opportunity. Thank you.
Bring the back.